Are you guys ready for some news? Oh, I got it right.
I think I'm being tested.
My fault. Trying to give you moments of levity, time to relax and create an attitude in the morning for you that is appropriate is difficult because I don't want to overwhelm you. The whole idea, we don't need to re-report the news here at Pax Stereo. We don't. We reflect on the news, and we reflect on the news by gathering with people of like consciousness, and we talk about what we feel like these things mean to us. But I don't want to re-report the news, and so we don't. If you want that, there's always CNN and MSNBC and all those things. But in terms of what we like to talk about, you got to have these moments of seriousness. And for many of you who are my followers, this is the reason why you follow us, and I appreciate you for that. I try desperately at times to entertain when I do want so much to inform, and it's a conversation Victor and I have all the time, whether or not we're attempting to inform or entertain, Vic. And you know that certainly applies to the news, right, Vic?
Yeah. Part of it is that you're supposed to come to a conclusion whether are you more responsible for empowerment, which I think it is the overall umbrella, and inspiration, not just one or the other. I think you could do a number of them. But I think the timing that we live in here is about transferring empowerment, motivation, inspiration, in all types. You know, it's hard to be everything, but it's good to sit back and know you affect other people for either change or to remind them they're on the right path, or the one I think is more important to me. I like learning from others because I never want to stop learning. So I look for that. I desire it, ongoing. So to me, if it's one-dimensional, I feel I'm being left out.
So Vic and I wrestle with this, as you see. We have philosophical opinions of it. And because of that, we know we do some of our shows which are nonsense, and that's on purpose. I learned that from George Clinton, who said, "Smell my finger," famously. And he talked about doing nonsense. And so we do some nonsense. In Morning Coffees, we get a chance to do the things that are more serious. So for those of you who find it sometimes a little much, I apologize in that sense. We have other shows Tuesday night where we do the music and Friday where we act a fool. So be part of those too. But today was a serious point. That's why I prefaced it, because I came across an article. It kind of touched me. And the article was about the shooting at the synagogue. And the article was from the perspective, it was in the Washington Post, of some of the young folks, the young Jewish folks, and how they were never taught. This is what one of the quotes was. We were never taught. Here's a quote. "I had never felt in danger because I'm Jewish, physically in danger. I've never felt that before." When I read that, it saddened me, but it also brought me back memories of my own life, because this is an instance that's come up more than once. And I learned when I was at Howard that they call it the shock of recognition. When you realize that you are different in the sense that people are willing to treat you differently for something as simple as the color of your skin. It's a phenomenon that black people go through all over the world, but it's not a phenomenon solely for black people. It happens to women related to what their womanhood means. It happens to people of all races and all genders. If you're gay, if you're lesbian, you don't know for so long that people are going to strike out against you in a violent way simply because of your being. And when that happens, it is a profound effect. Thank God for those of us who have wonderful support systems, because this is when they are most important. Because as a young black person, when this happens, it's your parents who hold you and hug you and tell you that you are loved and that you are important, when you have to realize that there is a white world out there who hates you simply for being black. I feel for these young Jews who now are feeling this because they were never taught this. And now they're feeling this. They're feeling in danger simply for being themselves. And I'm sad for them because I thought those kinds of experiences had disappeared from here in the United States. So much so that I can tell you that years ago, at least a decade, I was invited with a friend to a big meeting of one of the black parenting groups here. And I was invited because I was a pediatrician to give some input. And the whole meeting was to discuss whether or not you should prepare your black children by warning them about the hatred they may experience from white society. Imagine this. Experts from all parts of life were there, various opinions, because some people are saying, well, if you tell your children these things, you're adding negative to their life. And the other people are saying, well, if you don't tell them, you're sending your children out there unprepared. Remains controversial. What do we tell our children? So what do those Jews now out there, I feel for their parents. See, the children said they never felt this, they were never taught. So they're going to ask their parents, who at that time are going to feel a mixture of guilt and sadness, which I so feel for them. Because now they have to discuss with their children people who hate them for being who they are. Should they do it? I told you, it was over a decade ago that I went to a meeting specifically on this. And I still have mixed emotions. I'm not sure. I personally lean toward preparing your children for the world. In other words, so if there's negative in the world, I believe in preparing your children for that. Because if you don't, you're going to be forcing them to navigate it on their own or with their friends. So I believe in preparing my children for the negative. But believe me, black folks have wrestled with this and continue to wrestle with this today. So I feel for those young Jews. I feel for all the people out there, all the young folks particularly, who are having to experience hatred simply for being who they are. And I say again that I'm saddened that this happens today in the United States of America, that we should have these kind of things happen. Shouldn't be, and I thought we were above it. Vic?
Look, all I know is that sometimes you're fortunate, and we used to have a term, it may be, or a saying, forget that. Okay, and I'm going to say it this way because it was done out of us enjoying how people's personalities are different. Have you ever run across, while you were in your happier days, you notice I said happier days, when you were like, hey, I'm a growing man, I'm making money, I'm in my career, I'm dating women, I'm doing the whole thing. And then you ran across a few people and you said, oh, based on how they talked to you, you said they were sheltered. Have you ever made that statement?
Oh, yes.
Okay. But it was sheltered not in the way of the context it's using now. And we used to say, wow, I wonder how they were raised. Now, we didn't mean any ill will, but we were just saying, wow, how come they don't know this? Well, you do know there's specific groups, and I know my father shared this with me, as to when it gets to a place where your parents are aware that you're going through a community or going someplace where you're going to easily be targeted by default because you don't think about it, they jump right in your lap and say no, because the hunt is on. So maybe there's some communities, and I'm not referencing this group, the Jewish community, as much, is that some people are lucky enough to get through a whole lifetime and not have to deal with this. But I agree with you. You know and I know. You go in the wrong area, depending on where you are geographically, you're going to go, hell no. So there's a side of
people will tell
fortunate
you that you don't belong
fortunate if
right.
you don't
They
have to
will
go
tell
through
you
it.
You don't belong here.
But what happens from a distance is that you get to see it, although it may be somewhere else, and you go, they're like me. So I'm from that place, of course, because I had no choice, being raised a certain way, that, oh no, you were informed. He says, no. It's happening because the fear. So, yeah, I believe in letting your children know what the real world is like.
I mean, you have to do that even here in Los Angeles. Let me be clear. See, even in this bastion of liberalness, there got neighborhoods that are very racist here in Los Angeles area. They're known for that. It was known that all the cops lived in Simi Valley. Okay? I'm just telling you. And some of the folks who live in these areas, they don't look at it that way, being white. But they're known for being in areas that are hostile to blacks. Right here in Los Angeles. So this is an existence today. I'm sorry that it exists. And so today, my love and prayers go out to the families, to the parents and the young folks who are Jewish, who now have to do and experience what we as black people have been doing and experiencing, and that is preparing themselves for the world coming at them with attitudes of violence. I'm Mario Hemsley. This is the good news. The bad news. And the other shit.